The Millionaire Fastlane. It will take you 30 years to get rich. 30 years. This is often the number that the economists, finance experts, and even digital influencers who talk about wealth use to illustrate how it is possible to get rich by investing consistently. 30 years. That means if you start at age 20, you can become a millionaire by 50. If you start at 30, only by 60. And if you start at 40, by the time you become a millionaire, you already be thinking about how you will leave all that fortune to your children and grandchildren. Is there not a faster way? Can't you become a millionaire fast? Can't investments make you rich while you're still young and you still have the time and health to enjoy all that money? Well, in the book The Millionaire Fastlane, author MJ Demarco says there is a faster way. Instead of following the traditional roadmap that shows you how to get rich by harnessing the power of compound interest over decades, this book shows you how you can take the fast lane and speed up the process. Perhaps you're suspicious of claims like this one. Promises of quick wealth are almost always false promises. But this book raises many interesting ideas on how to speed up your enrichment process with attitudes based on reality and without any fancy methods. So, in today's Arata Academy summary, we're going to get to know the ideas behind this get rich quick promise from the book The Millionaire Fastlane. Take note, this is a summary of a book. Read the full disclaimer before proceeding. Getting rich slowly is getting rich when you're old. And you don't want to have money just to buy medication and pills when you're old. If you work your whole life and invest 10% of what you earn, the power of compound interest will make you a millionaire in about 30 years. This is the most listened to advice in the investment world. In fact, it is the advice that forms the basis of excellent finance books that we have already summarized here, such as Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Richest Man in Babylon, or Money Master the Game. But the Millionaire Fastlane offers a different perspective, a perspective where speed to riches matters and matters a lot. You can think of wealth as the journey from where you are today to the point where you are financially independent. And you can take this journey to riches along the sidewalk, the slow path, or the fast lane. The sidewalk is where most people go, people who spend everything that they earn, who stop studying after they leave school, who blame everything but themselves. That path ends in debt and in poverty. Now, the slow path to wealth is the traditional formula we've been taught in so many finance books. Basically, having a job with a certain income and working your whole life, spending less than you earn, so then you can invest the difference and thus be wealthy in the future. Now, the slow path is as if you were driving a popular car in a crowded street heading to a place that is far, far away. But while you're going slow, other people are going in a fast lane. They're driving to the same place with a sports car in turbo mode in a fast lane on high-speed highway without traffic lights or traffic jams. Going down the sidewalk, you will always be poor. Going down the crowded street, you might reach the goal when you're 60 or older, but by taking the express lane, you can reach the same destination while still having the health, the energy, and the lifespan to enjoy your wealth. The sidewalk and the crowded street are the most used paths, the paths that we are usually taught at school. These paths are nothing special, and in the end, it can seem unfair. After all, you have to sacrifice your present, your energy, and your dreams to maybe have money in your old age. And even so, the book's definition of wealth is what the author calls the three fundamental F's: family, fitness, freedom. Wealth is having good relationships with family and friends. Wealth is having health to enjoy life. And wealth is also being free to work whatever you want, whenever you want, and with whomever you want. Free from abusive bosses, free from the alarm clock at 5 in the morning to take the public transport, free from the fear of not having enough money to eat. You can have all that wealth quickly, or you can wait 30 years to build that wealth very slowly. But if you can have all that wealth now, why wait so many decades to become a millionaire? The problem with getting rich slowly is that you have to be mediocre for many years. As we talked about in the episode 108 of the series, Hello, say Arata, mediocrity means doing average things. And what does the average person do? They trade time for money. First, people learn a trade, and then they sell the time that they have working in this profession to an employer or a client who pays for their services. Now, trading time for money is a risky gamble because your income depends on your work and you don't have a good way to measure all of that. If you get sick, your income goes down or maybe it is completely lost. If your profession is overtaken by some advance in technology, your income decreases or is completely lost. And if you become a super competent professional, you still won't have the scale to sell your time. No matter how good a professional you are, your day only has 24 hours. There is a clear and unsurmountable limit to how many hours you can sell. So trading time for money is a bad business. Your income is limited. If you spend everything you earn, it is like you're trying to make the journey to riches by walking down the sidewalk. You'll probably die poor before you even get there. Now, if you save part of what you earn, you will need to work for many, many years, saving part of your income and making good investments. It is like driving on a crowded street, taking a long time to reach your final destination. Neither of these two options are particularly good. The solution then is to choose a less used route, which some might consider to be more risky, but which allows for gains on a larger scale. That is the fast lane. To get on the Millionaire Fastlane, you need to work with unlimited, controllable earnings. Do you know what the highest paid profession in the world earns? Well, a good way to find out the answer is to look at the list of the richest people in the world. So, what do Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, or Bill Gates all do? They are entrepreneurs. Having your own company is therefore an essential condition to be on the millionaire's fast lane. In the same way that having a job is essential for being on the slow lane, being an entrepreneur is essential for being on the fast lane. But not just any type of company. If you have, for example, a bakery and you need to be personally managing the whole bakery, well, you are still in the slow lane. If you have a business, but things don't work without you actually showing up daily, you have a problem. Your earnings are still limited by your time, by your energy. To get on the fast lane and get rich quick, you need to choose unlimited, controllable earnings. That is, you need to have a company that works with scale, that you can grow in an unlimited way, regardless of your personal availability or your personal time. However, it is not enough that the gains are unlimited. They also need to be controllable by you. On the slow path to wealth, the experts recommend that you invest your money in stocks, that is, the company of others. Stocks in good companies even allow for unlimited gains, but these are not gains that you can control. Now, on the contrary, the control of that company is in the hands of the other people who run the company. You only have a little piece of that company, but you don't have any control over what it does. This also happens when you own companies where you rely heavily on other people's decisions. Think franchising, dropshipping, affiliates. In all these situations, you are not really in control of the most important decisions. So, to get on the fast lane to wealth, you need to focus on unlimited, controllable gain. That is, you need to be the de facto owner of the company. You need to have a voice of command and control over the decisions of that enterprise. And to have unlimited, controllable gains, you need to follow the commands of necessity, barrier to entry, control, scale, and time. These are the 5 commandments that must be followed to start a business that will put you on a fast track to wealth with unlimited, controllable earnings. They are the commandments of necessity, barrier to entry, control, scale, and time. The commandment of necessity says that you must create a business that solves people's real needs. So forget the idea of work with what you love. Well, unless what you love is really a market necessity. The barrier to entry commandment says that you should favor a business with a high barrier to entry, because the harder it is to get into that particular market, the better. This is an idea similar to the blue ocean concept that we already talked about in the episode 234 of the Hello Sage Arata series. The logic is that in markets with low entry barriers, there are many companies, and they all end up competing on price. This greatly reduces the profit margins and prevents you from getting rich quickly. When the barrier to entry is high, people give up before they even enter the market. And then with fewer competitors, you can have higher profit margins and you can get rich faster. So let's look at the third commandment, which is the commandment of control. We've already talked about it just now. You need to have control and decision-making power of the direction of the company. It is not worth just putting the company in and letting other people control your company. It is not enough to be just a shareholder, an intermediary, an affiliate. You have to control the direction of the company. The fourth commandment is the commandment of scale, which we just talked about right now. To get really rich, you need to get into a business that allows you to sell at scale, leveraging your money, allowing you to have exponential gains. That scale is closely linked to the last commandment, which is the commandment of time. This commandment tells you never to limit your earnings by the time that you have available. For example, think of a nutritionist who just opened a small practice. Serving each single client individually, they have no scale. Earnings are limited to the time that they have available. Now, if this nutritionist starts a weight loss program and sells that program digitally on the internet, then yeah, that company, that project has scale. It doesn't matter if this product actually sells to one person, to 100 people, or to 1,000 people. The program is already recorded. It can be delivered on a large scale to all the people who decide to buy it. Another way to fulfill the commandments of scale and time is by learning to delegate. If you want to do everything on your own, you will remain limited by your availability of time and energy. To scale, you need to hire competent people and pay for their time, accelerating the construction of your business. Would you find it difficult, perhaps? Well, you need to remember what the author is promising here is quick riches, but he never spoke of easy riches. Getting rich quick is not the same as getting rich easy. You need to commit to a new lifestyle. Controlling a company with unlimited controllable earnings is no easy task, but taking the bus at 5 in the morning to work 8 hours a day for some abusive boss is not easy either. And yet, millions of people do it every single day. And you can choose which difficult task do you prefer to tackle, the fast lane or the slow lane. If you choose the expressway, you need to commit to a new way of life, a lifestyle where all the responsibility is in your hands. When you are an employee of a company, you have limited liability. You have a set of assignments, and you're limited to those assignments. This includes specific working hours, vacations, different types of benefits, a fixed salary at the end of the month. Now, when you are the owner of the company, there is none of that. To control a company with unlimited earnings, you need to be fully committed to the goal of making that company work and become profitable. And that means not having time to keep entering and leaving, not having vacations, not having weekends, risking your own money, going months without getting paid if the company doesn't turn a profit. The best way to get used to this change is to actually execute this change in practice, in the real world. To get rich quick, you can't waste years studying, training, just thinking about business plans or any other abstract attitude without practical action. The path is made by walking. The idea is not the most important thing in a company. Execution is. The better the execution, the more valuable your company will be. Now, of course, you can't just start a business without any planning whatsoever. You need to plan what problem your company will solve, what products it will offer, who the customers will be, how the marketing will be. But this planning needs to be just small enough to just get started acting in practice. It is not possible to spend years and years just preparing for the perfect opportunity, because that someday in the future, when everything will be aligned with the perfect conditions for you to start a business, will never actually arrive. A single day dealing with real problems in a real company can be worth more than an entire semester in a business school. So start with what you have, in the conditions that you have today, calculating with common sense the riches that you can accumulate. Think big, act small, and learn by doing, getting it right and wrong, getting better with each mistake. The Millionaire Fastlane has 20 ideas that you need to master if you want to get rich quickly. All the ideas in this book can be defined in 2 words: Fastlane Supercharger, which would be the supercharger of this expressway, the turbo button for you to be accelerating your vehicle on the road to riches. Fastlane Supercharger actually is an acronym of 20 letters, each summarizing the 20 ideas that you need to master if you want to put the book's ideas into practice. Formula means that wealth is a process that you can arrive at through a formulated system of beliefs, choices, actions, and habits that create a lifestyle. Admit that the traditional advice of working for decades to earn part of your income is not going to make you rich in time to enjoy that wealth. Stop doing what you're doing. Stop trading time for money. Stop investing in items that you have no control over. Stop thinking like an employee and a consumer. Start acting like an entrepreneur, a supplier. Time is your biggest asset. So invest in actions that will generate you more free time. Don't spend all your time micromanaging your business. Hire, delegate, leverage your time. Leverage. Remember to think of scale, leveraged. To get rich quickly, your earnings need to come in a large scale. Assets and income should be your focus. Build a business that becomes an asset, putting money in your pocket until maybe it can be sold in the future to make you even richer. Live below your means to earn more income. But remember to always expand your possibilities by buying more assets. Numbers. Objective numbers should guide your way. Don't do things in your head by intuition, by guessing. Have a financial goal written in your numbers, tracked on a spreadsheet, identifying exactly how much money you need to have the lifestyle that you want to live. Effect. Positive effect on the lives of many people is what you should aim for with your company. The law of positive effect says that the more people whose lives you positively affect with a business that you control, the more money you'll make. Steer your own path. This is a choice. On the Millionaire's Fastlane, the steering wheel of a car is in your hands. You need to commit to driving this car and taking full responsibility for mistakes and also the successes along the way. Uncouple from the slow lane. Unify your lifestyle with the fast lane, separating from the slow lane for good by creating your own business. Passion and purpose should be the fuel for you to stay on the path, transforming the attitudes that are necessary to get rich quickly into a habit. Just don't confuse passion with do what you love advice. Passion burns your soul. It makes you act even on the things that you don't love. Educate. Continuing education must become a habit. Education is the only thing that keeps you improving. Education is the only thing that will allow you to create a business that stands out on the market and knows how to handle the money that will start coming in. Road. Get into the fast lane road. Reprogram your mind to see needs and problems. Every need is a business opportunity. You don't need to find a brilliant, innovative idea that has never been done before. You just need to solve people's real needs and problems with a solution that people are willing to pay for. Control your business. Create a company where you are the decision maker and not just a franchisee, an affiliate, or an intermediary. Have what others need. Learn what others need and not only what you just think is best. If you sell what others need, money will flow into your business with speed and consistency. Automate everything you can in your business. Create processes for each of your company's actions. Use software to automate these processes. Remember that time is your most valuable asset. Replicate whatever is working to gain more and more scale. Grow. Make sure that your customers are treated as if they were your boss, so you can grow your company as a well-regarded brand and not just a business. Grow your brand in several dimensions, not just settling for being just another business in the market. Exit strategy. If your business is highly appreciated, know when to sell the company to turn this estimated appreciation into real money in your pocket. Retire, reward yourself, or repeat. After you've created a business that generates cash flow into your pocket, or after you've sold your business and become rich, you can withdraw from the market. You can reward yourself. Take a sabbatical. Buy the things that you always wanted to buy, and then, if you want, you can repeat everything. You can create another business. Get even richer. It is your choice. The Millionaire Fastlane is a different book from what we're used to, and the key word is speed. Whenever we hear about getting rich quick, our mind automatically gets reactive, thinking lots of buts, lots of what ifs. Be aware of these thoughts. But I'm going to take so many risks, but I'm going to get into that. But I already have a good job. That kind of thinking imprisons you to the couch, doing nothing. Yes, the book is about getting rich quick, not getting rich easy. Creating a business with unlimited controllable earnings is no easy task, but as we said, it is also no easy task to be employed by someone else working 8 hours a day exchanging your time for money. Every path has its difficulties, and it is up to you to choose whether to take this low lane to get rich over a few decades or to switch to the fast lane to get rich while you still have time, energy, and health. We always hear the advice to use discipline, to save at least 10% of what we earn every single month, and that we can invest and allow the power of compound interest to work in our favor, getting rich in the long run. Now the problem is that the long run is really long, and it can take 30 years or more to get rich. In the book The Millionaire Fastlane, the author MJ Demarco argues that this is a bad strategy. For him, you need to get rich while you're still healthy, and that getting rich quickly is possible if you create a company that allows you for unlimited, controllable earnings. The key word in the book is speed, not ease. What the author is proposing here is not easy, but it is not impossible either. You can increase your chances of success in this endeavor if you change your mindset about money and if you are more financially educated. And because of that, I want to invite you now to learn more about our financial enrichment course by visiting the link arata.se/money taboo.